Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on ADBN Morning Express as we look to wrap up the conversations this morning. Our closing conversation is one that is tied to a faith-based organization. One that beyond being faith-based also has its hands in broadcasting. And more so have reached out to train a lot of persons in that regard. On the program this morning, I have Mr. Faith Dandaura, who is the Executive Assistant to the Regional Director of the CBN Africa, an Anglo-West African organization and the lead partners Relation Development. He's a native of Dandaura State here in Nigeria, holds a BSc in Physics Education and an MDE in Educational Psychology, and is currently a PhD candidate at the Dandaura State University in Kefi. He also does have a strong background in strategic communication and is a stakeholder as he plays key roles in advancing CBN Africa's regional vision. He is also an associate member of ARCON, committed to ethical media practices. Mr. Dandaura blends academic excellence with his leadership and passion for kingdom-focused media impacts. Faith Dandaura, welcome to the program once again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, let's talk about the organization you represent. It is quite a commemorative time ahead of them. Yeah. They're looking to celebrate 30 years of impact, partnership, and purpose, even with media organizations much like ours.
Yes.
Talk us through this celebration that is at hand.
It's actually a celebration that has been ongoing. It started 12th September 2024.
All the way last year?
Yes, but it's a celebration that will be going down through to 12th September this year.
A whole year?
Yes.
Now, give us some of the remarkable activities on that one-year calendar for the celebration.
Okay, we CBN Africa looks to strengthen families through creating useful media products and services. And we've been doing that for over 30 years now. So to celebrate this milestone, we came up with a couple of events that we saw could engage the populace to understand and also share what kind of values we have to offer the nation. And with that, we started with a press conference at the NUJ Secretariat here in Abuja, where we were able to dole out the vision for CBN Africa and dole out the vision and dole out the achievements, the milestone achievements that we've had in shaping the mentality of society positively and communicating the right kind of values. And we moved forward to having a novelty match where we were able to get major stakeholders within the nation who share our values, media stakeholders, to join us in, purporting what we had to do. We also had a symposium. We called the symposium, where the chief lead speaker was Professor Jerry Ghana, where we addressed leadership, godly leadership in today's world, and we invited a lot of special guests who shared the same values with CBN Africa, seeing how we can transform our society, changing liabilities to assets through good, godly media products and services. Aside media products and services, we have a program called Superbook. Now, Superbook carried out a medical visit to the Federal Medical Center, where they were able to reach out to a good number of orphans with a lot of resources and supplies, to encourage them, because that is part of what we do as regards the humanitarian arm. The humanitarian arm of CBN is actually called Operation Blessing, OB for short. Yes, aside that, we had a lot of other events. We had a concert where we invited all the major artists we know or we have here in Abuja, where we just came together to celebrate God's faithfulness in the life of CBN. And so there are many more events that will be coming up as time goes on.
In the coming months.
Yes, in the coming months, where it will, as time goes on, you will get to know about them. But with our celebration, we understand that we have a partnership with a lot of media organizations. And these are partners who share the same values because they consider the mentality and the mindset of the nation and are committed to shaping that mindset to add value to the nation. And that all, so we are all together, especially with ADBN. We have over 8 years relationship, which is not a small thing for a media organization to have with itself. We're not competing with each other, but harnessing our strengths.
And more like complementing each
Yes,
other.
we're complementing each other to add value to the nation. So I can say we have been working together for nation building.
Now, one thing that stands out in most of your earlier comments is the catchphrase, shared values.
Yes.
I can't count the number of times you've repeated it.
Yes.
For someone watching at home who might not be too conversant with this shared values,
Yes.
beyond the media services you offer, which you've mentioned, Superbook and a number of other programs,
Yes.
how would you translate these shared values to the understanding?
Okay. If we were to sit before the president of this nation to help him understand what we do, you first consider the asset liability index of the nation. What is the asset liability index of this nation? How many people can you confidently say are adding to nation or contribute to nation building?
Positively.
Yes, positively. Nation building just generally be positive, and those who are going against that. There are many people who intend to see nation building come to pass, and there are those who are just concerned about their own livelihood. Now, unfortunately, let me douse it a bit, but I can tell you that the asset liability index in Nigeria is 70%, and that
not
is
looking too good there.
no. So it's telling you that in 10 Nigerians that you meet on the street, if you were to go out on the street now to meet 10 Nigerians, 7 out of those 10 Nigerians are looking for what they can get from you, looking for what they can take from you, rather than looking for how they can help you or work together with you to help others. So what is CBN doing? CBN is creating products and services, media products and services that can address life issues and shift the focus from a liability mindset to that of nation building. So that's what CBN is doing by creating different products and services that address different issues in the nation. For instance, we have the Living the Life. I don't know if you've heard of that. Living the Life is a female magazine program that addresses life issues as it happens to women. So you see women of different walks of life come on the program and show you how they run their own lives, they run their organizations, and are able to be successful. So they define the kind of values they live by and how it has shaped them. We have, for instance, One Cube Niger. One Cube Niger addresses the youth, says, hey youth, what is this that's going out there? Here's a better way we suggest. So when you create an alternative, without just talking, you create alternatives. And that's what we media organizations do. We create alternatives to what is the norm and the negative stereotypes that are out there. And we are shaping behavioral mentality. So we say, how are we rehabilitating the mindsets of Nigerians? By what we do. That is the value of what we do, is to get these guys to be rehabilitated in their minds. And that way we are seriously contributing to nation building.
I'm very sure for those who follow ADBN TV, you'll be conversant with quite the number of media services and products as curated by CBN Africa. He's mentioned the likes of One Cube Niger. He's also talked about Superbook. We happen to have One Cube Niger, musical, speaks to the youths, but we don't happen to have Superbook. I know you talked about the intervention under the OB of the CBN to orphanages, where part of the Superbook came into being. I grew up watching some version of Superbook, and why it stood out for me back then was the fact that it had the cartoon elements to it.
Yes.
What's happening with Superbook? Is there plans to bring it back on screen? Would ADBN TV have the opportunity to share it with our viewership as well?
We could have that conversation, you know, and Superbook has been on. It's never gone off. We have the classic Superbook that came up in the 80s. You know, I'm sure that is what you're referring
That's what
to.
I'm referring to.
Okay,
yeah.
but we now have the reimagined Superbook of Hollywood quality animation. I believe you'll see that soon. It's already on screens. It's just that there's some exclusivity to the nature of its broadcast, and that is why you probably have not seen it yet, but you've talked about it now. So ADBN will be showing Superbook very soon.
We have that on record. That's an amazing one. I think it should premiere and also be captured in our subsequent bulletin that would have it coming up for our viewers to watch.
Yes, yes.
Now, in terms of mind shaping,
yes,
it seems as though each of the products and services has a target demographic, a
yes,
certain age group.
Yes.
Talking about the elderly persons,
yes,
I know Superbook caters to the younger
viewers, yes.
One Cube for the youths.
Yes.
You've talked about the program for the women.
Yes.
We're talking about the aged and elderly. Are
yes,
there other services that they can look out for?
Okay, so we have programs like Turning Point.
Yeah, Turning Point has been with us for a while.
Yeah. We have 700 Club Nigeria, 700 Club International too. You know, all these programs are for the more advanced. They address all walks of life and they address all demographics anyway, but they reach out to those who have had life and lived that life, you know, to say, hey, there's still something you can do. There's a behavioral change that can come, and there's a lot that you can do. You don't write off yourself. That's what we do. We say, here are life experiences that talk about the power of God in the lives of people and how it has transformed their lives. The whole thing about nation building is having life transforming vocations and designations that will change the lives of the populace, you know. So these address the more elderly people. We have shows that we have not yet even cut the ribbon on. So I'm struggling to hold the lead, you know, not to talk about them, but we have a lot in store to say. We address, there is no one that is going to be left out. We are going to provide alternatives for everyone so that everyone has something to look to say, okay, this addresses some of the challenges that I'm facing in the nation, and it helps me to now become a better person. Therefore, the next time I come on this show, I'm hoping that when we're talking about the asset liability index, it would have changed by then.
It would have reduced from 70 and progressed upward. That's why earlier when I said contributing positively to nation building, it's not as if the opposite is negatively. The people who are also just passively sitting through it.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Neither here nor there.
Yes.
I know it's been 30 years, but in closing, we just have less than a minute or two on the program.
Yeah.
What's the vision for CBN Africa going into the next decade?
Okay, now that is, you're talking about strategic foresight. Now we're looking to, you know, of course, industry. The industry, we're in the industrialized age right now, and we're moving while probably, let's say, we're in a transition between the industry and the information age, you know, and so information is now at your fingertips, you know, when you need it. And so we are going to take advantage of that media space to provide and improve on our content creation. And that's why I told you we have a lot of programs to address current life trends, current life issues, you know. So we have a lot in the it's still in the cooler right now, but we're working to see. So our core values are excellence, innovation, and integrity. You know, these three things, they guide our mindsets, they guide the way we walk, the way we approach life, the way we do things. And therefore you can be rest assured that when we provide these values for people to see, it will help to improve the living standards of people. I can guarantee you that. Well,
I must thank you, Faith Dandaura, for taking out time to grace our studios and give us this breaking events as they're happening. We're wishing you the best.
Thank you so much.
In the coming months that will mark the 1-year celebration for CBN Africa 30.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Faith Dandaura is an executive assistant of CBN Africa as they mark their 30 years in operation. And he's talked about the need to have value addition to reduce the asset liability index in Nigeria. And this is made possible through orientation, through media products and services, which are available on ADBN television as well. He's also told our viewers to anticipate the refined Superbook. We'll have other programs that we also show, like the One Cube Africa, which also airs on ADBN television. The 700 Club Nigeria is also one of them as well. Turning Point as well. And a lot of you who loved these faith-based programs can catch it here on ADBN television. Well, this is where we draw the curtains to a close on our current affairs-driven conversations this morning. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, it'll be time for ADBN Sports at 10. Please stay with us.